What's going on, family? Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Let's take a look at Merciless Ray Mercer. Born April 4th, 1961, Jacksonville, Florida. He stood 6'1". He was a heavyweight and had a 77-inch reach. He fought from 1989 to 2008, and he had total bouts of 44, 36 wins, 26 knockouts, 7 losses. He was stopped himself on 2 different occasions, and he had 1 draw. Now, Ray Mercer would have 2 good fights, very good high-quality competition fights, 1984 and 1985. He began sparring when he was in the military. He didn't want to go out in the field, so they put him in recreation. And he wound up sparring with a high-caliber amateur star. And he suffered a beating so badly that he had a broken nose, swollen eye socket, and a busted lip for over a month. But he kept coming back to the gym because he did love competition. You see, Ray Mercer was a street fighter when he was a young man. But he was fortunate enough to get into the military. He would fight for the U.S. Army, and he would do very good for himself. 1984, he was too green to try for the Olympic Games. You had Mike Tyson, Terrell Biggs, Camille Odom, and several others. So he was well advised to learn his craft and try for the 1988 Olympic Games, and that he did. And he would come home with a gold medal. Now, Riddick Bowe was in the super heavyweight division, and he was expected to come home with the super heavyweight gold medal. But he ran into Lennox Lewis, and he quit in the fight, and Lennox Lewis would bring home the gold medal. Now, after turning professional, Ray Mercer would fight fighters such as Eddie Richardson, Ozzy Ocasio, Camille Odom, Burt Cooper. Now, I was at that fight with Smoking Burt Cooper. August 5th, 1990, Atlantic City, 12-round unanimous decision. And Ray Mercer had no business in the ring. He just got a tooth extracted 3 weeks prior. And when Burt Cooper landed a left hook on the jaw of Ray Mercer, his jaw would know about it, and it would swell up like a watermelon. And Ray Mercer would have to continue fighting that way for the remainder of the fight. And I found myself walking back and forth on Atlantic City Boardwalk because you had another fight at another casino going on. It was Greg Haugen and Vinny Panzienza. They were fighting for the IBF lightweight strap. And Ray Mercer would face Eddie Richardson, Ozzy Ocasio, Camille Odom, Burt Cooper, Francisco Damiani, Tommy Morrison, Larry Holmes, Jesse Ferguson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. That Lennox Lewis fight in Madison Square Garden, I was in the front row. That was some fight, I gotta tell you. But when he fought Larry Holmes, I was at that fight as well. And Larry Holmes showed the kind of veteran he really was. He stayed in the corner, and he was peckering Ray Mercer all night. And Ray Mercer, that's the experience of, the lack of experience, I should say. Because he didn't really have the amount of experience that he needed to have to be in there with Larry Holmes. But getting back to Tommy Morrison, was at that fight as well. That fight took place October 18th, 1991 in Atlantic City. And he put the beating on Tommy Morrison because Tommy Morrison totally disrespected Ray Mercer. He said he was 28 years of age for 4 years. And Ray Mercer didn't like that because Tommy Morrison was getting all the prestige and the limelight. He played a role in Rocky V. And was getting all the attention at that time. It was managed by Bill Caton, who also represented Iron Mike Tyson. And he did the peekaboo style and left hook and everything else that Mike Tyson did. And Ray Mercer couldn't wait to get his hands on Tommy the Duke Morrison. Tommy Morrison was supposed to be a kin of John Wayne. There was a lot of white hype going on at that time, and Ray Mercer didn't appreciate it. So when these guys fought, I should say, in Atlantic City, I got to tell you, he took a beating like you won't believe. Tommy Morrison was born January 2nd, 1969. And he died, unfortunately, September 1st, 2013. He was 44 years of age at the time of his death. And he being there with fighters such as James Quick Tillers, Pinklin Thomas, Ray Mercer, George Foreman, Michael Bent, Lennox Lewis, Donovan Razor Ruddock, Steve Zawarski, Dave Jaco. Just to name a few fighters. But both of these men were undefeated. Tommy Morrison had a fighting record of 28 and over 23 knockouts. Ray Mercer had a fighting record of 17 and over 12 knockouts. And he gave Tommy Morrison a beating you won't believe. I want to show you a couple of still shots of that fight, just to give you an idea what type of beating that Tommy Morrison suffered. Now you see here Tony Perez, referee, pulling Ray Mercer away from Tommy Morrison. But this was after about 17 unanswered punches that Tommy Morrison would suffer. Tony Perez was not the best referee. In fact, it was a controversy interruption in a Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier second fight at Madison Square Garden. Tony Perez would interfere with the action, where it looked like Smoking Joe would be KO'd, and he would step in for no reason at all. But then after he realized he stepped in too soon, he would let the action continue. Morrison should have never taken a beating like this. But that's the referee's job, states Ray Mercer. I didn't know if he would hit me back, so I kept wailing away at him. The true reason he didn't like Tommy Morrison. Tommy Morrison said he was 24 years of age, or 28 years of age, I should say, for 4 years. Unbelievable. Salute Ray Mercer, 1988, Olympic gold medalist. Very good fighter, in there with the best of them at his time. Won some and lost some. I would love to have seen him and David Tour, or him and Mike Tyson. He didn't fight Michael Moore. I don't think he fought Donovan Razor Ruddock. But he was a very good fighter. Ray Mercer. Thanks for hanging in there with me. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to Ray Mercer. Peace.